Hey guys, today we're gonna watch a couple of replays that I had already pre-recorded. The first two attacks actually were recorded a couple of days ago, and I just never had the chance of uploading them. So that's just for warning, because you'll look at my victory point range and it'll say 1600, but I'm actually at 1700 now. But that was recorded a couple of days ago. But they were pretty good, so I felt like if I don't put them on the channel, it'll be a waste. So let's just go right ahead and take a look at them. As you can see, it's 1659 victory points. But the first attack is going to be, what do you call it? TRM. Yeah, sorry. TRM with 2 bolts of rifles. Notice Trong is the name of the base. He does have, I think it's like 7 ice statues or 5. I'm not sure. Also notice that I've recorded this gameplay live. Well, kind of live without the commentary. That's why you guys can see the gunboat energy and the troops below. Sorry, so it was 5 ice statues. Only the masterpieces were boosted, so not a big deal. Single shield with a laser beam, and since he doesn't have too much ice, it wasn't going to be a big issue. Now also keep in mind that because this was recorded live, I'm not able to kind of speed it up, and I know tank attacks are very slow, but anyways, just put up with me. I mean, if you're in the channel watching this kind of attacks, then I assume you'd like to pay attention to how the attacks go on these bases, right? Anyhow, there goes the second bolt of rifles, because the first one was decimated almost immediately. Put some critters to try to distract the boom cannon, which I did just in the nick of time, just to buy those rifles a couple of extra seconds to move ahead of the tanks in there. And then once we got there, I had to be careful because there were 3 boom cannons, and you guys know the deal with boom cannons and tanks. You just have to be super mindful. And there goes one shot on the laser beam. The problem was that the rockets were behind the HQ and the laser beam was behind the HQ, so all of that kind of splash damage was just super brutal on the rifles. And notice that I had 2 bolts of rifles and I'm only down to 2 riflemen left, so I had to resort to critters and just try to move my troops around. At this point I was hesitant. I wasn't sure if I wanted to deal with the boom cannons or deal with the shield first. Also notice that I didn't have enough gunboat energy for another shock. I needed 1 more extra GPE, and once I got it, I dumped it right on the boom cannons. I did lose, I guess, 1 or 2 tanks on the process. Kind of mistimed it there. Now I was kind of getting a little desperate. No gunboat energy for anything at all. Just go straight for the boom cannon, and then I think we're gonna go straight for the second boom cannon. Right there. Once I got enough GPE. I mean, I was relying only on the sheer amount of tanks that I had. Notice that I have 7 tanks left. So ordinarily 7 tanks wouldn't be enough. Now we're down to like 5 tanks. That kind of amount of tanks would not be enough to wear down a shield, but because we were able to take down the generator itself, 4 tanks would be enough to finish off the actual HQ. But yeah, it didn't work out as well as I thought it was going to be. I would have liked to have more tanks. If the shield is still up and you need to wear the shield down, you need at least 8 tanks and a minute left, give or take. That's what I found with TRM. So that's why TRM, every time you use tanks, the biggest issue is always time. In this particular instance, we were good because we still had a minute and 20 left, and that HQ was pretty much done. Again, because it had no shield. If it did have a shield, I would probably just time out. Surprisingly, I didn't lose any of my medics, which is kind of rare because when you carry 5 medics and they spread out, they usually get themselves killed pretty quickly. But anyhow, Tron goes down. That was the first base. The second base is going to be MX Puok, which is one of those top players in Vietnam, I assume. He has a pretty tough base right here. He's at 1641 victory points, so not to be taken lightly. He does have 5 ice statues at this time, although I think I just checked him like yesterday or the day before. Remember, this gameplay was done maybe 3 days ago, but now he's up to 6 ice and 4 offensive, which makes it so much more difficult. And up to 5 ice I can take down with TRM no problem if there's 1 shield and a laser beam. But once they have 6 ice, the tanks just don't move fast enough and they don't do enough damage to wear down the shield. So once they have 6, that's where I draw the line and I can't use tanks anymore. Although it really depends on the layout. If there's a big flaw in the layout, then I usually can do it. Anyhow, we put down the tanks on the bottom right first, just to get a couple of those sniper towers and economy buildings, just to get a little bit of gunboat energy before we flare to the left corner, which is where I usually try to start my attacks. And then at the same time we put down the first bolt of rifles. Notice that they're doing a great job of absorbing all the shots from the boom cannons and the sniper towers. Some critters for the mines, shot mines, just to try to buy the tanks a few seconds. The first wave of rifles is coming down quickly, but they saved us from the boom cannon and the cannon in the shore there. So we're doing pretty well. Haven't lost any tanks just yet. I wanted to farm up a little bit more gunboat energy before we start flaring upwards. So right there we flare up. The last rifle goes down, so I had to throw a shock on the cannons, and now the second boat of rifles is coming along. You guys can see them walking in the bottom there. And again, haven't lost any boats, any tanks yet, but we did lose one medic, which really sucks because you're only carrying 5 medics, so losing one is a big deal. But it's not like we're going to stop the raid at that point, so you just keep on moving. The boom cannons are mostly down. Also, I never talked about it, but we did take down one of the boom cannons and shot launcher in the very beginning there with gunboat energy, trying to get it out of the way. Naturally, I was trying to save as much GBE as possible to save the shocks, because there's still 2 boom cannons and 1 cannon at the end next to the HQ. And once you get to the HQ, if you have no gunboat energy for those cannons, your whole attack can be, ruined in a matter of 5 or 6 seconds. So I was trying to save shocks as much as possible. That's why I threw smokes. I didn't even want to risk those tanks facing that little cannon on the bottom left there. So I was just waiting for the shot launcher and the shield generator to go down. Although the one boom cannon kind of started locking onto us, so I had no choice but to start flaring a little bit earlier. Not what I had planned, but I lost 2 tanks already, so I didn't want to risk it. And notice that I still refused to drop the shocks because I really needed those for later on. I knew that the shot launcher was just about to come down because he had almost no health left. The rocket launcher, single rocket launcher, not too concerned with it, so we're not going to do anything. But as soon as that they start creeping up towards that cannon, that's when I started flaring and throwing the second shock of the game. I also missed the one boom cannon that was behind the HQ. Right there you guys can see him picked off one or more of my tanks. I think they were placed just a little bit too far apart, or my smoking just, my shot just wasn't sharp enough, so I missed it. One of my tanks paid the price. But no big deal. Now you guys can see I'm throwing shocks all over the place, and now I have one more shock saved up at the end, which is exactly what I wanted. And I'm lucky that I can shock the last boom cannon and the cannon along with the snipers. All the single shots together with the one shock. So that was my last shock. That was the last of it. The boom cannon went down, which was great. The cannon, I'm not sure if it's going to turn to us. It might. I forgot. But it didn't matter. The shield was already down, and most of the tanks are already shooting at the HQ. So it was just a matter of time. Luckily, the tanks were away from the range of that cannon. So, okay. Oh no, I was mistaken. There goes the cannon. It's shooting at us. We'll probably lose that one tank. Yeah, down to 10 seconds. If I remember correct, we're gonna finish this base with only 2 seconds left. So it was really, really tight. We're down to like 4 tanks. There you go. 4 tanks. Barely made it with 5 boosted ice. So imagine if he had a 6 ice statue, there's no way I could have done it. Oh, also we got a ice crystal, which is always nice to see. A nice crystal when you're taking down a base. So those were the 2 live bases. The rest of these are going to be just, these are more recent, but these are simply replays. They're not live play, unfortunately. But anyhow. Oh boy, this one's loud. I'll have to kind of lower the volume there. Alright, so this base, 10 ice statues, as you guys can see, pretty gnarly. Although only the one building health statue was boosted, which is great, but still. 10 ice statues is always a big deal. It's always intimidating when you encounter something like that. But if there's something I'm learning from Come Back and this new Korean task force that I've joined, is go in, no fear. The worst thing that can happen is you just lose, and then you just try again. So I went in with heavy Zuka, single shield, shock blaster, as you guys can see, smoked them all the way to the back behind the vault. The big flaw on this particular base is that he had no defenses at all in the corner, just all economy buildings, which worked out really well for my advantage because that'll get me a lot of good gunboat energy. And there'll be no troops shooting at my Zukas behind there. So it worked out really well. One reflare right there. Go straight to the mortar. Critters as usual. And then a shock on the flamethrower and shock blaster. Notice the Zukas are free for shooting at everything in there. Nothing's killing them. More critters for the boom cannons. And once they take down a few of those economy buildings, they start spreading out really nicely. Right there, you guys can see the heavies are already fanning out. The Zukas are shooting all over the place, left and right, getting a ton of good gunboat energy. So I just kept on throwing critters, up and critters, and then shocking the key defenses like the shot launcher, boom cannons, of course, because those are just single shooting the Zukas. Once the Zukas take down the shock blaster right about there, that's when we flare straight to the HQ, a Hail Mary pass there, where we're down to like 3 or 4 heavies only, but we had a pretty good amount of Zukas. So it was just relying on sheer luck. Medkit, because that's all I could afford at the end there. And we did take down the base. had pretty heavy losses, but it doesn't matter. As long as the base goes down, it's fine for me. 2 victory points to our account. 10 ice statues still goes down, even though it was just 1 booster. So I know, don't judge me for that. It's not like it was the toughest base in the world. But anyways, that was a heavy Zuka attack. Next we switched out to RZCM. I hate when I have to switch troops like back and forth because it's just a big waste of diamond. But sometimes certain troop loadouts don't work out. This base had 5 ice statues. You guys can see them behind the trees, a couple of guardians. All 5 of them boosted. The great thing about this particular base is that the guy, I think he forgot that his whatever prototype module was, prototype weapon was between the mortar and the flamethrower behind the HQ just expired. So I didn't have to deal with that prototype defense, only the shield generator itself, which was great. And sure, he did have 5 boosted ice, but without an additional prototype weapon, things were actually not pretty easy, but much more doable for me. So I spoke all the troops all the way to the back there behind the cannon. As usual, right in between the 2 rocket launchers. I did take down the 1 rocket launcher on the left side with gunboat energy, obviously. Critters, and then we start shocking the 2 rocket launchers. And the same as before, let the Zuka start cleaning up the base. While at the same time, the rifles are starting to provide a little bit of cover for us. And then once they'll start spreading out a lot, this was actually one of those really fun attacks where you kind of destroy a whole bunch of things and then you move backwards on the base and you're clear. Right there, once the second rocket launcher is clear, we can flare all the way to the corner through a smoke right on that patch of troops there. Try to save as many as we can, obviously. But you guys can see we already ate up about a quarter of the base and we have a ton of troops in there. A complete huge amount of troops. So we can go 2 times the speed because this involves a lot of flaring and walking around, so I didn't want to waste your time. So we just walk upwards, take down the shield, let them move in a little bit more, gather a little bit of GBE from those economy buildings, and then we flare all the way to the corner. And I honestly, I can't remember how much gunboat energy I had at this point, but clearly we had enough for a pack of critters and 1 shock on the mortars. And since there was no shield in that on the HQ, I mean, look at the troops. They're just, completely destroy that HQ. So 5 ice statues, no secondary prototype weapons. So that was really actually easy, super fun. I love attacks like that. I wish I could always do attacks like those. And then we have one more attack, which is Kimback Eric. Me and Kimback Eric have gone back a long time, many months. He's raided me a couple of times. And not until recently I have been able to raid him. He does have 7 ice statues. The masterpieces were boosted. I believe he's done with his push because at one point he had all 7 of these suckers boosted and I couldn't just attack him. I just kept on refreshing him. But now that he only has minimal boost, I can definitely do it. And once again, this is the type of attack that I learned from I'm Come Back, which is corner base with a laser beam. Put down heavy Zuka, 3-5 ratio, so 3 boats of heavies, 5 boats of Zukas. Smoke them all the way to the back next to the armory, in between the rocket launcher there. Obviously being careful not to get your Zukas killed because that's the problem with laser beams. If you mistime the smokes for even a split second, that thing will just shoot, kill all of your Zukas, and your whole attack is ruined. So anyhow, we finally make it to the back with maybe 5 smokes I think we spent. Flare it to the shield, put some critters on the mines to clear those mines, and at the same time it'll distract the mortars. And then throw 2 more smokes super fast. Let them just take the 1 shot on the shield generator. If you have enough Zukas, that thing should go down in 1 shot, and then flare straight to the HQ, critters, and shock the key defenses. So right there, you guys can see the laser beam starts to target the critters behind the Zukas, so that bought my troops a little bit of time, and the Zukas are just sniping at the HQ. So perfect timing right there. I mean, a couple more seconds and I would have lost all of my troops. I think I lost every heavy already, so I was only left with a couple of Zukas. But it didn't matter, the base went down, and that's the kind of strategy that I learned from Comeback, which is pretty sweet, but it just takes a lot of execution. Alright guys, so I think that'll be it for this video. Hopefully you guys liked them. Leave me a comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time, okay? Until then, I'm Max2015. Bye.